So there seems to be two major forms of imbalance for people, and that's either that you're completely overwhelmed with the amount of projects that you have on your plate, or you are so stagnant and stuck that you can't even budge, let alone start working on your to-do list. In either case, what you have is a problem of imbalance, and I'm going to help you today restore that balance with 5 practical strategies, things that you should be doing every day to help maintain a sense of balance in your life. Welcome to Awakened Creators. I'm Amanda. Let's dive in. Okay, so one of the first strategies I'm going to give you to restore balance to your life is to rest. You need to rest, either physically or creatively. Now let's talk about physical, because physical rest seems to be something we really don't give ourselves permission to do enough in our society. It's go, go, go all the time, and if you're not going, you're not productive, right? Well, I call bullshit on that. You need to be rested physically in order to produce mentally, right? If you're living off of fumes, your level of production and the quality of production you're going to be giving to your projects, to your life, is going to be so minimal that, like, why even bother? So if you even just need 5, 10, 15 minutes of time to yourself to take a break, go get a glass of water, go outside for just a moment, whatever it is, give yourself that permission to do that so that you can go back to your work fully restored, ready to dive in. Even just the mental shift in knowing that you've given yourself that permission for that small period of time to do that is going to boost your belief in yourself and your ability to execute the projects that you have at hand. But you have to give yourself that time to rest. Some of you also might be skimping on sleep, and that's a fast track to derailing your ability to be productive in the long term. So if you need to start going to bed a little bit earlier, start setting an alarm for yourself, of bedtime alarm. You need to be in bed by a certain time so that you can wake up at a certain time and start your day more productively. On the other side of this is resting creatively. And if you have a lot of projects that you're working on and deadlines that you're working against, and you feel yourself outputting constantly, you need to take a step back from these projects. Even if it's, again, a small period of time, 10, 15 minutes, a half hour, whatever it is, to give yourself some distance creatively between you and your project. When you go back to it, you're going to start seeing things completely differently than you had been before, being so dialed in that you start getting tunnel vision, right? And you stop being able to see where there's room for improvement with your project or a new innovative way of looking at it. So again, this dialed in go, go, go mentality will not get you very far, and you'll burn out before you have time to make any adjustments. So prevent that by creating some distance between you and your projects through taking conscious breaks from them and shifting to doing something else completely unrelated to that project, so that when you do go back to it, it feels new to you. It feels like you can inject some new energy into it. So when we're talking about rest, we're talking about rest physically and creatively. Next, I'm going to talk to you about another type of rest, but this time this rest is mental. And of course, I'm talking about meditation. So if you're not already familiar with my channel, then you will find that I talk about meditation a lot. Meditation is an invaluable skill that you can develop that's going to help you in every aspect of your life, and has certainly helped me get past addictions, depressions, creative blockages, all of the things that I felt like were holding me back. Meditation has been a pathway through and out of those more negative energies. And the best part about it is you don't need anything in order to do it. You just need yourself and some time. So the reason why meditation and cultivating a meditation practice is so important, especially for creatives or anyone who's trying to develop something that they're passionate about in their life, is because what it's going to allow you to do is start to quiet your inner critic. Now, we all know that anytime we want to start something new or launch something new, the first person to get in our way of doing that is usually ourselves. We've got a lot of doubts. We've got a lot of things that we think, well, what about this getting in our way? Where are we going to get the money for that? A lot of obstacles can seem to pop up immediately, and usually they come from within us. Meditation, if you cultivate it, is going to start allowing you to really observe objectively how your mind starts playing those games with you. So where you distance yourself from that thought and you realize that, my conscious awareness exists here and those negative thought patterns are out here. So I can choose to engage in them or I can choose not to. And when you start to develop that understanding that you're not a slave to your thought processes, you can begin to shift out of them and change them and actively start creating a different thought process that's more productive, more helpful, more positive, more loving, and that's going to help you just restore balance to so many areas of your life. Now, the other great thing about meditation, especially for if you have creative pursuits, is to bring you clarity. One of the things that can happen when you get overwhelmed or bogged down in a project is that you start lacking clarity. You start losing focus on where this is going. You're so tuned in only to just, the next step in front of you. I got to get this done. I got to get that done. Rather than being able to step back and see the whole picture, the whole concept of what you're trying to pull off. So meditation can be a great way for you to do what I suggested in step 1, which is create some creative distance between yourself and your project by going into a meditative state, giving yourself that space and time to rest your mind, to stop thinking about, your deadline and that you got to get the next 1,000 words written down on your novel that you're writing, and instead give yourself some space and time to rest from thinking about it at all. And then when you go back to it, you're going to be filled with, now there's space to fill with this creative surge of energy, giving you clarity, giving you those aha moments and those epiphanies that are so, such the most beautiful part of being creative and pursuing creative is when that light bulb turns on. But if you're burning out the light bulb, it can't turn on or off. It's just going to be dead. So cultivate that clarity and quiet that inner critic in your mind by developing a meditation practice. Now, how do you do that? There's a ton of free resources online. My channel is one of them. I have a whole playlist of guided meditations you can use. Also, there's tons of apps now out there that you can either buy or get the free ones, and other YouTubers who are putting out fantastic meditation content. So really, there aren't any excuses. All you need is yourself and some quiet time and space. So just sit down, breathe, focus on your breath. You're really not necessarily trying to empty your mind because that can sometimes feel overwhelming. But at first, really just start to sit there and just start to breathe and become conscious of your breathing. And beyond that, again, there's plenty of resources online available that are going to help teach you how to meditate. There really isn't any specific right way to do it. So don't get too bogged down in the details of the how and just get started. Okay, so now that you're rested and you've given your mind some time to rest through meditation, the next thing I'm going to tell you is to play. Play is such a forgotten part of our lives as adults, but play is a definite for balance in your life and restoring balance in your life. When we play, we give ourselves the freedom to make mistakes, to be silly, to not care so much about the outcome and really be present in that moment, in that experience of just enjoying ourselves. And that's why play is so important. Play does the things that we talked about in steps 1 and 2, but through activity. We allow our minds to rest because we're not worrying about everything. We're just enjoying ourselves. We even allow ourselves some distance between ourselves and our projects by taking a break from it and tuning our attention into something more low stakes, right? Something that doesn't feel like it's so important, but it's really just for fun. Now, for those of you who are in the creative arts or you're pursuing some kind of creative endeavor, my encouragement to you with regards to play is to find a different medium that's distant from the work that you are doing. For example, if you are a novelist and you're working on a novel and it's driving you batty, my suggestion is that you shift out of that completely, and for your play, you're going to work on something completely different. I mean, I'm talking about find some Play-Doh and just start sculpting something, or go make some sand castles at the beach with your kids. Like, get yourself so far away from the medium that you're most used to working in that it feels like you're doing something completely separate from it. So again, giving yourself that time to play is really going to help you refresh and renew and feel invigorated to go back to the project in hand, because you've reminded yourself what you're doing this all for. You're doing it so that you can have more time with your loved ones. You're doing it so that you can enjoy life more. It's not all about producing an end product. It's about the journey. Okay, strategy number 4 that I'm going to recommend to you, I like to call musing, or sometimes I refer to it as intake. And earlier in a step, I talked about how we output a lot when we're working on our projects. We push out, but we rarely take back in to renew and refresh ourselves. Well, what I call musing means exactly that. You're going to find yourself a muse, something that inspires you. Generally, this means someone else's work. So if you have someone that you admire, their work, it really fills you up, it really inspires you. Maybe it's a certain musical artist that you love listening to. Maybe it's a fine artist whose work you really admire and would love to embody. Maybe it's a certain writer whose work just fills you up. What I'm going to recommend that you do is just take some time out of your schedule, big or small, to muse a little bit and start intaking some creative inspiration from the artists around you whose work you admire. And in doing so, not only are you going to start percolating your mind with all sorts of ideas that you could implement, but you're going to kind of take some of the weight off your shoulders in terms of feeling like you have to have all the great ideas, and realize that there's plenty of people out there with a lot of brilliant ideas. You don't have to think about them. You just get to enjoy them, right? And be a part of their journey. And that in turn will help you become inspired to continue on your own journey. So a warning about musing, because it can get a little tricky if your muse is someone whose work is very similar in nature to yours, and it can start to muddle your own thinking about your project. I would recommend that you look for a muse in a different medium. So just like we talked about with play and trying to distance yourself from the medium that you're used to working in and play in something totally different. So if you're a writer, you go paint. If you're a painter, you go write. But in this case with musing, that rule is going to apply doubly, because we don't want other people's ideas to infiltrate our own unique creativity. What we want to do is we want to get just inspired in general. So again, if you're a writer, maybe instead of taking a break to enjoy someone else's writing, you would take a break to enjoy someone's painting, someone's music, or even go to a restaurant and enjoy someone's culinary creation. So same thing, if you're a culinary artist and you really focus on food as your medium, you might want to take a step back and really just enjoy a good novel, or listen to some fabulous music. And in turn, that novel and that music is going to hopefully give you some inspiration for the plate, right? Maybe it evokes a certain emotion and you start seeing that emotion play out in your mind through the medium of food, because that's what you use for your creative expression. And then now you have something totally unique to you, but inspired by the muses around you. Okay, and so the last thing I want to talk to you about, I'm gonna kind of probably sound like your mom here, but you need to take care of your physical body. Yes, this means you need to eat your veggies and exercise. What I want you to do, though, is use that amazing creative brain of yours and channel that into taking care of your physical body. Look, we'd be nothing on this plane of existence without our physical bodies. We need our physical bodies in order to produce the work that we're trying to produce. In order to express our creativity, we have to have a physical body to do that through. And if you're not taking care of it, then what really do you have? But again, I want you to think about it creatively. So this isn't like this is an assignment and you must get on a treadmill for 30 minutes a day if that's not something that you would enjoy. I want you to have fun with it. So if you've always wanted to dance, or you feel most free when you're dancing, then dance for 30 minutes. I mean, literally just turn on some music, get on some sneakers, and dance in a room for 30 minutes, and that's your exercise for the day. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to look like you going to the gym and grinding for an hour to be healthy. Find a medium of physical movement that inspires you and that fills you up, and do that. Okay, just be consistent with it. That's what's really going to be the key to restoring your physical health, is being consistent. And if it's something that you love and enjoy, then you're going to have an easier time being consistent with it than if it was something you felt like you should do or have to do because that's, going to help you be healthy. We all know what helps make us healthy, and we don't always do it. Usually because there's a little bit of rebel in us that doesn't want to be told what to do. So in that case, give yourself permission to move your physical body in the way that you want to, and therefore bypass any of that feeling of restriction or feeling of being controlled by an external force. So there you have it. Those are my tools for finding balance in your life. Again, you're giving yourself permission to rest. You're starting to cultivate some stillness in your mind through meditation. You're giving yourself time to play and lower the expectations. You're also looking for creative inspiration in the muses all around you. And lastly, you're taking care of your physical vessel, because you know that in order for you to express yourself and work, you have to be well enough to do so. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below on which strategy you are most excited to try, and share with the Awaken Creators community. Also, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel to get more videos like this, and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload. Also, if you haven't yet, join me on Instagram at ALStoneWrites. The link is in the description box below, and become a part of the Awaken Creators tribe, a tribe of supportive, creative individuals who want to see you express your most creative self. Thanks again for joining me. I'm Amanda. This is Awaken Creators. Namaste.